Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACTN. Always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 to 9, where we bring to you something relevant in sport in Trinidad and Tobago. And as we continue our series in the sport of rugby, as I said, from time to time we're going to be doing rugby because we felt that rugby is one of the sport that is picking up, quite a bit, and it needs that sort of showcasing. And we here at ACTN always, we always on the ball when sports is concerned, where the lesser known sports, we always try to give them that air, and that's what we're here for. And joining me on set is my co-host Maria. Maria, welcome once again.
Good evening. Thank you.
How was your week so far?
Well, it's been a busy week. We had lots of rugby happening on the weekend with Rugorama, and our guest, Kathleen Stephen, was out playing and was doing an amazing job, making some great tackles and a lot of forward movement with the ball. So I think probably she can tell us a bit about that this evening as we get further into the show.
Well, viewers, the first part of the program we'll be talking rugby as usual, as I said, and the second part is that we continue our weekly World Cup special, and we will be, when we leave here, we're going to be going across the Smokies and Bunties to bring you all the action in the game between Serbia and Brazil. Brazil, I mean, a lot of us support Brazil, but things are not looking too good for them right now. All of my Brazilian supporters, we got to be realistic, but hopefully they'll get past Serbia and go on to win the World Cup. But nevertheless, let me introduce our guest for tonight, Kathleen Stevens, Trinidad and Tobago national rugby player. Kathleen, welcome, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Now, I constantly look at rugby and seeing these very tiny frame people come in here, and you all tell me you're playing rugby, and we see this physical sport, which we from long ago, from the little I know in rugby, you always see these huge muscular people, but now we're seeing yourself, Maria, Nicolette Panto, the captain, very small people involved in rugby. Let's start. How you got involved in the sport of rugby?
I started rugby as I came out of secondary school. That was like 7 years ago. And Nicolette Panto, her father, saw me running. I usually run and play football. So he saw that I had the ability of running. He took me up to a national fitness exam. And the same week, I got called back for the national team.
Just like that?
Yeah, just like that. Because I made the fitness criteria.
Okay.
So I got called back. I didn't know anything about rugby, but I learned slowly, and then from there I just went on.
So I know that you're playing for about 7 years now, but take me through that 7 years. I know that you played in major competition, especially the one in Mexico. Take me through your career in the sport.
Well, it had a lot of ups and downs. I'm from South, all the training taking place in Port of Spain. Traveling to South late hours, it was kind of difficult, but I really enjoy playing the sport of rugby. I love being involved. So I tell myself that I would go the distance. Of course, I had injuries in Mexico for CSC games. That was 4 years ago. I got my collarbone break. Up to this day, I still have 4 screws, a plate, and something else in it. But I carried on, and I still love the sport, enjoy playing it, so I still playing it.
So that all those metal inside of you is not a kickback to your performance now?
It's not a kickback. I don't even remember sometimes that it's there.
Okay.
That's how I play rugby mentally. They talk about like size and stuff, but my mental is stronger than my physical. I always tell myself that whatever anybody doing, I could do as well.
Okay. All right.
And that's definitely apparent when you're playing on the field. For sure. I know, I'm trying to remember who you were playing over on Saturday. I think maybe it was Royalians. And you're just seeing this little fast Kathleen going and bashing through players. And I know Nicolette was right there behind you, supporting you. And I thought it was a really good example of that mindset and the support in rugby to get past that gain line.
I always tell myself when I'm on the field that nobody cannot pass me. My team cannot be disappointed in me. I mean, at times I'm not perfect on the field, and I do make mistakes, miss tackles and stuff. But when I could do it, I do get the chance, I put my all into it.
Well, I know communication is another one of your strengths. If I remember to the International Women's Day and that match, where you were communicating with the kicker, Juliana
Yeah.
Straker, and the play that came out of that was amazing. You want to comment on that?
Well, I saw the space, and you know, I always watching rugby, these Fijians and them kicking and chasing and getting them back. And I always tell myself that, you know, it have things that I would want to try. Sometimes I mightn't get the people next to me to, you know, do the plays with me. That's why most of the time I would talk to Nicolette because she's my best friend and communicate. But when I saw Juliana kicking, I spot the gap and I told her kick over the head, and I just chased it and it fall directly in my favor. So that was it.
Are there any players that you pattern yourself after in the sport?
Yeah, there are players. Foreign base.
It could be either, you know, locally or foreign.
Right, I would look like players like Megali, Portia Woodman, Elia Green. But in Trinidad, I admire Juliana Striker, her strength. Even my friend Nicolette. I'm not a kicker. Sometimes I say, well, I wish I could kick like Nicolette even better. But I just strive to be like the best rugby player. I may not be the best rugby player, but in my mind, once I'm trying, I am accomplishing something.
You said you started with Exiles, but right now there are only 2 teams in South, Exiles and Rainbow, right? What was your relationship with the Exile team?
Well, I have a very close relationship with them, management. My best friend, Nicolette Panto, her mom, her dad, was the heads of it. And from there, I get into it and seeing that I'm close to the family, I stood there and I become a part of the management team. And from there, I eventually coaching younger ones, seeing that I was a senior. And it eventually grew. The team didn't last that long because the females, they see it difficult to come out training and they thought the sport was rough for them. So the team didn't last long.
But it's sport rough?
It is rough.
Yeah.
Some people like it, some don't. Some are afraid. But as I say, I am not afraid of it.
But what attracted you to the sport that have you there still? There must be one thing in the rugby sport that drives you, that you know you want to keep on going.
I was never a girly girl growing up. I am from a family of 13 siblings, 7 brothers, 5 sisters.
You could bring out a whole rugby team.
Unfortunately, none of them involved in sport. I am the only one.
Okay.
So I never see myself as a girly girl growing up. And when I started playing rugby, it kind of bring out a sense of belonging to me, where I could express whatever I had on the field without having to, you know, fight or do anything like that. So that was just me. From there, I fell in love with the sport, and up to today, I'm still in love with it.
In the sport, 7 years now, have you seen growth? And if so, in what area, and what are the areas that you feel that rugby needs to put in a little extra work to get it up to where you personally would like to see it?
I have seen growth. May not be as in the aspect that the players would benefit as yet. But I have seen that the management team making steps to make things better for us. I would like to see that the players get benefits from it, meaning like training-wise. When you go to training, you have somewhere secure to put your belongings. Even after training, you have a nice place to shower.
Because rugby doesn't have a home, right?
Rugby doesn't have a home. Anywhere you see and you could train, you train. So even for the persons that come in from far, because the team would take away some players in the sense of distance. So players coming from far, I wish they could have like transportation, give them some kind of encouragement to actually come back to the sport, because it's very easy for someone to give up when it see like the rugby have nothing in it for them. So I would say that give the players some sense of belonging, so it would encourage them to come out and play the sport.
Now, I know you spoke about you've played in a number of clubs, and clubs generally do have a home. So what sort of difference do you think there is when you have a place that everyone can congregate? You know, now you are playing for Police Rugby Club.
Yeah.
How does that compare with the experience that you've had?
Well, it's not perfect to me. My home, I would really consider my home is Exile. Even though I'm not playing for the club, I don't have a team. It's closer to my area, so I would say that is my home. Whereas the rest of clubs that I played for or that I'm playing for right now, it do have a home, yes, but it's away from my home.
Okay.
So I would say that Exile is still my home. Every club I play with, I associate with players, everything. But when it comes to like belongings, I would say Exiles.
So Exiles has a home we can build on.
All the clubs have a home you can build on, but I would prefer build closer to my home.
But that's excellent, and for spreading the sport and getting more teams in South, it's definitely somewhere that we could look at.
Yes, definitely.
Now, you have traveled a lot, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about some of your travels, you know, some of the exciting games that you have played.
My most exciting games would always be against Mexico.
Why is that?
It would always be against Mexico because I always think that Mexico is our toughest team. And yes, I like to play and win games, but I don't really see it like, yes, we play against Cayman Island, we win them. It's just a win for me. But for me, I like a competition to win.
Okay.
And Mexico is like our toughest game because they want it just as we want it. So playing them and winning is like you really played for what you want. And over the years, we have been going back and forth. Mexico win, Trinidad win. And it's always like a rivalry between the two teams, a stiff competition. So I like that kind of excitement. When you do win a game, it's like you win the game, you're feeling it for the, whether you lost the rest or whatever. Once you win against Mexico, you feel like you win the tournament. So I like that part.
But when you measure the rugby abroad, the rugby locally, where do you see Trinidad performance lies? Do we, in what area do we need to step up our game, right? We need to take a break. When we come back, you'll answer that question.
Okay.
Yes, you are viewing Scoreboard here on ACTN, and we'll be right back after the short break.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
My first question was, and roll back the tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we played together, I've always been the decoy.
Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua De Matos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately,
Kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh.
what's that?
Welcome to this edition of the interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Welcome back to Scoreboard. We are here with national player Kathleen Stephen. She is about to tell us about some of the comparisons and the things that she likes, dislikes, and has experienced with both local rugby in Trinidad and Tobago and international rugby playing abroad.
Well, international rugby is at a high intensity compared to local rugby. We might be lacking the facilities to accommodate the kind of training that international teams would have. But I really do think that we need to put in some of that training, whether it's going into camps or taking the teams to different areas in the country. To put in, we mightn't, as I said, we mightn't have the facilities, but whereas we could make whatever we have, the resources, useful. Because it's better than having some sort of training than just, saying we don't have it and just settle for less.
Right.
Are there opportunities for rugby players, both male and female, locally, to get like contracts abroad, to play for teams abroad?
Yes, there are opportunities, whereas funding is a problem. You might get the opportunities, but you would have to come out with funding from your own pockets. Some of the players mightn't take up on these opportunities because they already established a life here. And going out there, they want to know that there's something put on the table for them. Instead of just living their lives here to go there and just play rugby for nothing. So whereas if it have opportunities where they're getting paid to play rugby or something like that, or even if Trinidad paying for the tickets for them, they might take up on the opportunities.
But what is your long-term goal for the sport? What, at the end of the day, what do you want to accomplish in the sport?
To be honest with you, I had long-term goals for the sport. As time passed by, 7 going in 8 years now, it just got to get me experience in travel in different countries, and really and truly not really making a life. So as much as I love the sport, I would forever play it. But at the end of the day, my life still matters. So I would play the sport, but I would see about my job and family and those things, and then the sport after.
But how do you see rugby bettering the players' life in a way that, I mean, people will want to play rugby because there are only 2 teams in South, the number of teams in Port of Spain. So it gives one the impression that people in South don't really want to play rugby. But what can the organization or the federation or the union, whatever they call them, what can they do to motivate, people to get into the sports that will make it worthwhile then? That me getting into the sport around. Because there must be something that there to motivate me to get into a sport, because I'm not going to just jump into a sport. You understand? What can the union do or the local organization do to attract people to get into the sport? Because I came to the Bermuda game and the USA game, and to me there's a huge following, coming to the game. So that's a plus, right? But that's not, anything in South.
Well, for me, it's a give and take. As I said, I would play this sport because I fell in love with it. That might not happen with everybody. So I would tell you, to be honest, most young people are looking for money. So once they see that the rugby have nothing to offer them, besides going to games and getting a Lucasade on the sideline or something like that, they would say like rugby have nothing for them. They would prefer try the track or the running. So in the sense that I'm saying that if you don't see the sport and fall in love with it, there must be something that attract you beside that, like rugby actually bring you. You see the team traveling and going foreign countries and you want that. That is the only sort of thing I could say. Beside that, you have to really want to play the sport just for playing its sake. Because right now it really don't have anything like that money-wise and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I know you mentioned family as one of your priorities, and I am so impressed with you because you are a new mother, and between one international tournament and another international tournament, I'm pretty sure math is not my strongest point, but I don't think a whole 9 months passed. So I look at you and I think that you've done the most amazing thing you can do in life, which is create another life. And you did it literally while playing rugby.
When I was playing rugby, I was 4 months pregnant with my son. I didn't tell the coach because I know I wouldn't be allowed to play rugby. I prayed to God and I asked him to keep my child safe, but I really wanted to play NACRA because Mexico coming to Trinidad and on our turfs. I really wanted to have that experience, in front of our home crowd for us to bring home the victory, which we did in our first game. And I just tell myself that, what is for me is for me. The Lord will protect my child, and so did he. So after that 4 months, I went and did my ultrasound and stuff, and everything was perfectly fine. So the 4 months that you say the baby came out, that was the next remaining.
And we saw you come back on the pitch looking exactly just like this.
It just runs in the family.
Yeah. But how do you find the balance? I know it's difficult because traveling the distance is far. But besides that, how is balancing being a mother and an athlete?
It's pretty normal. At first, I tell myself that I couldn't leave my son to play the sport of rugby. But then you just sit down there and you're thinking to yourself that, you know, your life going, and when your child get big, he would do whatever he want to do, and you would be there. So I tell myself that, you know, I could balance it. A lot of mothers does it, and it wouldn't kill me to leave him 1 or 2 days to go to training or play a game. At the end of the day, you know, that is my son, and I'm coming back home to him.
Yeah.
But it was difficult. It does be difficult to leave him. Sometimes I want to tag him along, but I think about like the weather and stuff. But it's perfectly manageable.
Yeah.
At the end of your career in rugby, what is next for you? What will you? Are you going to stay into the sport by way of coaching, officiating, or are you just going to walk away?
No, I don't intend to walk away. To walk away from rugby, the love I have for it, it's hard. So I do intend to further probably be an assistant coach, move on to coaching, but I do see myself involved in it until whenever.
Will your son be playing rugby? Does he have a little rugby ball?
He has a rugby ball, he has a football ball, he has a cricket ball. So he basically plays with the football the most. So I would leave that up to him, because my parents didn't want me play rugby, and I went on to rugby. So I would always say that it's up to a child. You just go with them and you support them 100%, and you be with them.
Because obviously having the love for the sport the way that you do is one of the most important things.
To me, yes. That's what makes me succeed most of the time in the rugby. The love that I have for it.
After that serious injury, did it ever occur to you that I think I need to walk away?
When I got the surgery, the exact same day, I was playing on the field against Jamaica. And before, in the hospital, Mexico hospital, I did the surgery. And the first question I asked when they talk about the surgery is if I could play after, like the game after. I didn't know it was that serious, but I did ask if I could go back on the field. I didn't know it was a broken collarbone. I started playing rugby like about 6 weeks after, because with the surgery they did, they could immediate movement and stuff.
Okay.
I never really, they tell me I could take out the stuff inside if I wanted, but it don't bother me or anything. So I just ignore it.
All right. One of the things I noticed I think was so important that you said is you spoke about your strength mentally as a player, and that your mental strength will always be more than your physical strength. And I don't hear that as being anything to do with your size. I think even if you're a giant, then your mental should still be stronger. What do you think can increase someone's mental strength? What do you think the mental strength of, say, the Trinidad and Tobago team is, or just players in general in Trinidad and Tobago?
I think that you have to want it more than anything else. Because just by wanting it, you're not going to say, well, I'm too small to tackle all those big females. If you want it more than that, you're telling yourself that I have to tackle those females. And that's what I always tell myself. My first coach, Kitty, she started calling me the fearless one, because my very first tackle on the pitch was a girl like about 3 times my size from Tobago. So she started calling me the fearless one. But with my mental, I always tell myself that you could be big in size, but I taking you down no matter what it takes.
Yeah. Well, that's a strong mentality to have, and we would have some footage that definitely demonstrates you doing that.
When you look back at your career, if given the opportunity to do it all over, will you do the same, or do you make adjustments to your game or your lifestyle?
I would make much adjustments in the sense that I enjoyed most of my rugby. So I would like to enjoy that again. What I would like to make some adjustments to is like if rugby could have get me further with rugby as a career, I would have taken that opportunity.
Well, you know, when you look at sports, everyone makes a choice at the sport that he or she wants to get in, and you have decided to get into rugby, and you have dedicated your life to rugby. But if it wasn't rugby, what other sport you feel that you would have got into and you'll be have that same passion for?
I would have say athletics, long distance running. I was a 1500 runner. I ran it a few times, but after I took up rugby and see like it have traveling opportunities and stuff, I set back with the running and football and stuff. So I just went on with rugby.
So besides Mexico and Jamaica, here you mentioned some of the other countries you have traveled to.
I went to Ireland, North Carolina, Cayman Islands, Martinique. About 11 countries. When I added up, about 11 countries.
And you have been a permanent starter on the Trinidad and Tobago team.
Most of the time.
For the past 7 years.
Yeah, most of the time.
Right. We just have about 2 minutes before we wrap up. I know that in everybody's life in sports, there are always one individual who, you know, we want to mention that played that integral part in your career. Who is that person?
I would have to say my best friend Nicolette. She encouraged me even when I say, no, Gail, I don't know nobody on that team. I don't know nothing about rugby. Why I go in there? She was foot and foot behind me to come and try it out. You don't know, you can never know. And, you know, I could never stop thanking her for just having that step behind me, encouraging me to always go the training. Even when I had my son, I said, you know, I feeling like not going back there. She said, just give it one more year and I'd have fun and qualifications. After that, we will forget about it. But she would always be there and, you know, encouraging me to go the training and do better. And I would do the same thing for her. So I would say Nicolette.
Well, Kathleen, it was indeed a pleasure chatting with you. And I really hope that by us highlighting the sport of rugby, you know, people will be more encouraged to get into the sport and to view the sport. And in that way, would assist the ones who will be coming after you all, because I mean you all are paving the way for younger females like yourself to come into the sport, and we really hope here at ACTN that we can make a difference in the sport of rugby. So we want to thank you very much. Any closing comments, Maria?
Well, I would just acknowledge that, you know, we don't live far from each other. So whether it's with a full team or it's just training, that we know that we can keep ourselves in shape and be ready for the opportunities when they come, you know. Everybody in South, look out. There's definitely always going to be rugby here.
Definitely.
Well said. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of this part of Scoreboard. Remember, now we are heading straight to Smokies and Bunties, our favorite place, to bring you all the action in the World Cup match that is on today. So stay tuned. We'll be right back, but we'll be at another venue, Smokies and Bunties.
We, from those encounters together, and this was a North-South game to open the season.
So the team might be playing well, as we always say with Trinidad and Tobago.
Futsal did that great for me.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams and ACTN. My name is Steve David. I'm your host.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Football 101.
Half season and things are looking gloomy for Madrid.
Is a Chelsea fan.
I only know one side of Manchester and it's red. I don't know about any blue side.
Yes, I'm an Arsenal fan.
That's very unfortunate.
I love you, Messi.
Mike want to say thanks for...
No!
What are you gonna do?
We bring the field directly to your home.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9. Okay, viewers, welcome back to ACT and welcome back to Scoreboard. Well, right now we are at Smokies and Bunties, but before we get into the session today, I just want to take another opportunity to thank Kathleen Stevens, the member of the Trinidad and Tobago rugby team. We had her on the program, the first half of the program this morning. Very interesting, very loved lady. She loved the sport of rugby, and we tend to hear these stories about these rugby players
they were in another sport and they just pass somewhere and they see it and they got in front. Something about rugby, and as I think she said, rugby is very addictive. Nevertheless, we are at Spokey and Bunties, our favorite spot during the World Cup 2018. And I'm joined by my co-host again, Maria. Maria, it's a pleasure. Welcome.
Thank you.
And the boss himself, James Beard. James, it's a privilege and an honor to be here again.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's a privilege for me as well. I think it's going well, and I'm really looking forward to today's game.
Now, Brazil, Serbia today. But before we touch on that, so far we have seen a number of teams exiting the World Cup. Any surprises so far?
Well, obviously Germany this morning is a big shock. I mean, that was my team for the whole competition, but I don't think they did enough. They were not a complete unit. They did not pass the ball well, and they couldn't finish it as well. So I think with that and the combination with the coach's choice in players, I think choosing Neuer, who's one of my favourite goalkeepers, I think he wasn't ready. So that's one side of it. We also have, obviously, Nigeria went home yesterday. Iceland, my other side, went home too, so a little disappointed there. And there's been a lot of other teams too. It's actually a phenomenal World Cup in terms of teams qualifying that we didn't expect.
I was a bit surprised and taken aback with the performance of Iceland and Iran. I mean, those are teams that you're not expecting to perform the way they did in this World Cup. And they did perform because Iran stood a very good chance of qualifying. So did Iceland.
Well, I think the gap between obviously the big teams and the small teams has decreased so much that, I mean, at the end of the day, it's 11 guys against 11 guys. But I think a lot of these smaller countries or smaller so-called countries, they're not fearing the big players anymore. For example, Iceland playing against Argentina, you could see they weren't scared of Messi. They got themselves stuck in, but they had a good game plan, and I think coaching has came into it well, and also the players' attitude as well.
Well, just from what you're saying there, it sounds like the mental preparation for these games definitely plays a huge role in what we actually see on the field.
Well, I think mental preparation in football in general is massive, and especially over the years it's getting more and more. So the players are able to adapt, and also we have to remember too, a lot of these players are playing in other countries outside of their own country. So some of them playing in Spain, some of them playing in Italy, France, Germany, so all the mainstream countries, England. So even the so-called small players are still playing at a high level that then they can learn and they can take it back to their own countries.
It's also an opportunity that they have on the world stage to prove what they really have and probably elevate themselves in football as well.
Well, there's plenty of the players in the World Cup that have put themselves in the shop window. I mean, even, for example, the Icelandic goalkeeper. Before the tournament, we knew him from the Euros, but Halldórsson, he's had a great tournament, and I think you'll probably see him transfer to one of the main footballing countries. He's in Denmark currently. He may go to Spain, Italy, even England. So all the players are doing a credit to themselves, and again, it's a credit to the World Cup in general.
If we quickly touch on the VAR system, do you think that this is enhancing the football, or it's taking away from some aspects of the football game?
Well, I think it has enhanced the game if it's used correctly. Now, the one thing I'm seeing is some of the referees, they're not strong enough characters to be able to make decisions throughout the match, and they're using it too much. For example, it should be used penalty box situations, that kind of thing, but it should not be used like in the instance with Ronaldo when an off-the-ball situation happens to decide whether to send them off. It should have set criteria, and that's something that they obviously have to look at, making sure that the referees know as well it should be used for this and not for that. So I think it's a great addition, but if it's used correctly.
No, we've seen so far, especially with Argentina really have scraped through, right? Do you see them picking up their game, or somewhere along the line they're going to falter based on their performance and how they apparently just depending on Messi to pull them through?
Well, I think they're slugging along, you know. I mean, and Messi's pulling them, like for what Ronaldo's doing for Portugal. But I think we will start to see them play with a little bit more exuberance in the next few games. I think you'll see them a little bit more relaxed because you could see it was getting to them. You know, they had to get this victory to qualify. So I think, although it's now knockout they're coming to, I think we will see a different Argentina coming to the knockout stages. So I am optimistic. I'm not saying they're going to win the tournament, but they're going to be there or thereabouts, yeah.
So as the competition gets stiffer and stiffer, we've seen where, you know, individual players would maybe pull a team. You're going to see more, you think there will be more team play then? Basically, all the teams are going to have their star players who can pull the team, and that's going to affect the competition.
Well, I think the one interesting fact is we have teams like, for example, Croatia, who they're playing as a complete unit. You know, we have Denmark as well. We have, I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head, but they are playing as a team, and they kind of got through easier than the big countries who were relying on one player. Even Ronaldo in that last game, there was a chance Portugal could have went home, you know, but they scraped it. Obviously, the goal came at the end. There's maybe a bad call by the referee, but so the teams that have the big stars are struggling, but the teams that are playing as a unit, it's a lot easier for them. So I think that's come into a huge factor.
And we saw Croatia demonstrate that with their 3-0 lockout. So,
your prediction on today's game?
I think Brazil will win. I mean, it would be great to see another big team go home, because obviously then it gives somebody else a chance to obviously win the tournament. But I think on paper Brazil have a stronger side. But again, I could be wrong. Serbia could come out, and then we have to remember the other game too, because for example Switzerland play in the other game. If Switzerland win, they would top the group depending on the result in the Brazil game. So everybody has all to play for. But I think Brazil will come through in this one.
Any predictions, Maria? I like to tease you to get a score.
I know you like to get those predictions.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to predict a score of 2-1.
In favor of?
Either way.
Either way? So you have no favorite team in this round?
Serbia.
Huh?
Serbia.
Serbia. Well, viewers, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Remember, we are Smokey and Bunty's World Cup Special 2018. We'll be right back.
We, from those encounters together, and this was a North-South game to open the season.
So the team might be playing well, as we always say with Trinidad and Tobago.
Futsal did that great for me.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams and ACTN. My name is Steve David. I'm your host.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Football 101.
Half season and things are looking gloomy for Madrid.
Is a Chelsea fan.
I only know one side of Manchester and it's red. I don't know about any blue side.
Yes, I'm an Arsenal fan.
That's very unfortunate.
I love you, Messi.
Mike want to say thanks for...
No! What are you gonna do?
We bring the field directly to your home.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Smokies and Bunties. It's halftime in the game between Serbia and Brazil. It's a 1-goal lead for Brazil, but it could have easily been 2 or 3. James, what's your thoughts so far on the first half?
Well, it was quite an interesting game. I mean, Brazil had a few chances. It was a little bit of a chess match at first, but Paulinho took the goal phenomenal. I mean, it was a great touch, great finish. It's a great assist as well from Coutinho. So we've seen glimpses of Brazil, you know, the real Brazil, you know, the pace, the flair, and I think they'll be quite happy with their performance.
Well, you know, Maria was supporting Serbia. You 1 goal down. Any hopes of coming back?
Well, I see you say was, George, but I don't jump ship like some people in this party here. So I am still supporting Serbia. I think it was a wonderful goal that was scored by Brazil, and that's something that you like to see. When you support a team, you don't want to feel like they're behind unjustly. And I think that Brazil, they worked hard and they deserved that goal, and I'm happy to see the game as it's progressing. And I think that if Serbia does come out, then they definitely deserve the win.
James, have you seen an improvement in the style of play with Brazil coming into this game, going into the round of 16?
Yeah, definitely. They look at a lot more confident side. I mean, the first few games we were seeing, they were stop-start. You know, Neymar was trying to get on the ball. He wasn't able to do enough. But today, they're playing more as a complete unit. Even from the goalkeeper, Alisson, he's came out, he's done well at some of the cross balls. So everybody pulling their weight today. And we're seeing that as obviously the team goal. It was a great goal, great pass, and great finish as well.
So you are seeing that Brazil going into the round of 16. But so far, the teams that have already gone into the round of 16, how do you see Brazil matching up with those teams?
Well, I think it's a hard one to go with at the moment, but I mean, for example, the game tomorrow between England and Belgium will be a big test for both of them, and we'll see the quality they have. I mean, I think Belgium look extremely strong. Can Brazil live up to that kind of strength, the passing they can do? We will see, but at the moment, they're definitely up there. Are they ready to win it? Not so sure yet.
So you are one of the persons who are not too sure that Brazil can take this World Cup?
Well, I don't think they're not the Brazil of old. I mean, we know the way they used to play was just exceptional, you know. They're finding their way, they're finding their rhythm, but they need a little bit more. They need a little bit more a bit more teamwork. Even in the middle of midfield, they need a bit more there. Defensively, still not 100% convinced, but I think the longer they stay in it, they obviously have a chance, yeah.
Maria, I know you're not jumping ship, right? But do you see Serbia coming back and being a threat to Brazil in the second half?
Well, Serbia is only down by 1, so anything can happen in the second half. They're not so far behind that they can't come back from this. As we discussed earlier, when you're seeing the team playing together, that I think is what's making the difference, and what is helping both teams in this game right now is that they're really working as a team together, and I think that whichever team does that the best in the second half is going to end up victorious.
Well, I'm sure that we can find a Brazil supporter in the crowd today. Not sure too much of the Serbia, except for my good friend here. Right, but let's see if we can find a Brazil supporter and hear his thoughts on the first half. Viewers, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to be talking to a Brazilian supporter. Okay, joining us here is Akil, the lone Brazilian supporter. Well, we have Brazilian supporters, no Serbia supporters, except Maria. Akil, what's your thoughts so far on the first half? Before we talk about who's going to win the World Cup, let's talk about this game in comparison to the rest of games that Brazil has played so far.
Well, I see the more pressing in this game, the more looking like they want to win this game, to win the group, providing that the next game. So that's why they're just taking it to the next step. Although Serbia is defending very good, and I hope that they keep the gas running.
But do you see this present Brazilian team going straight through to winning the World Cup?
Yes, I do, because Germany had a slow start in the last World Cup. And as you see what went on with Germany last World Cup, they had a slow start. You see what going on with them in this World Cup. So in this World Cup now, anybody could have a slow start and win the World Cup. I mean, you never know whatever going on. You understand? So there's how we just think.
Now, you supporting Brazil, right? My good friend here is supporting Serbia, and she predicted a 2-1 victory. Anything you'd like to say to her?
I would like she to keep she confidence that she side is going home today, that she side have no chance today, you know. But it's all right that she back in Serbia, you know. But anybody could see today that she said it's going home today.
All right, and for the first half, what would you say is the most outstanding play?
The most outstanding play is the true ball over the top that Paulinho put the touch over the keeper.
It was just enough, not too
Well,
much.
it wasn't too much, but I mean, but I know Nima coming this half year, and to me I see like about 3 more goals in this next something.
And George, for the record, for the viewers, they would say that I called a 2-1, but I didn't call for whom. I am supporting Serbia, but I called a 2-1.
No, well, I see Coutinho scoring, right, and I see Nima scoring in this game too.
So Brazil has a lot more to score in this game.
Yeah, of course, I see they have that.
But are you concerned in any area of Brazil game that you feel they need to step up to go straight through?
No, I see it in this game.
No, in their performance thus far, right? Are there any areas of concern that you feel they need to address going into the round of 16?
Yeah, they just need to be a little more clinical, you know what I mean, in the finishing and everything. But to me, it's like watching Real Madrid. They start off slow, everything, and then after you just don't, boom, they just win. So it's something like that. That is the kind of game they're playing there.
Well, okay, let me wish you all the best. I hope that Brazil go on to win this game and also go on to win the World Cup. We'll be here for the final, so I know that you will be here.
Yeah, of course.
So if it doesn't happen, you'll have a lot of answering to do.
Yeah, of course. I'll come and answer very well.
Viewers will be right back after the short break. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back. We are here at Smokies and Bunties on the Avenue. It's the end of the game. Brazil walking away with victory, 2-0. We have moved to the round of 16. With me, James Beard and Maria Thomas. I'm seeing Maria with a Brazil flag, like scarf. Well, it appears that after the victory, she has finally decided that Brazil is the team to support. So, well done.
I am supporting Smokey and Bunty, and on behalf of Smokey and Bunty, I am presenting this scarf for Brazil. I have not jumped ship.
But before we go any further, let's take this time out to really thank the management and staff of Smokies and Bunties for allowing us this privilege here to be here on a weekly basis to bring these games to you and to bring the views and the comments from the supporters of football. James, Brazil have gone through to the round of 16. Seeing the performance, are you totally satisfied now with this Brazilian team that they can go forward?
I think in the second half we saw a lot more of the old, let's say, the real Brazil. They passed the ball about more. Neymar got involved. Obviously, we saw the goal coming at the end with Thiago Silva, so a lot more like the real Brazil. And I think as the tournament will progress, we could maybe, as I say, I'll contradict myself now, they could maybe see them maybe making it to that final. But a lot better football, movement was better, passes were better, and the goalkeeper actually for Serbia made some fantastic saves.
But looking at the performance of Serbia, they had about a 4 or 5 minutes run there where they could have scored at least 2 goals on Brazil. Brazil were under tremendous pressure.
Yeah, there was about 10 minutes they pegged them in there and they put them in the back foot, and I think Brazil maybe were a bit lucky. They were able to breeze the storm in a sense and they got through it, but at the end of the day, Brazil, they got the victory, what they hoped for. Maybe it won't be as emphatic as they wanted. They probably wanted a few more goals to really show the rest of the world, you know, Brazil are back. But it was a good performance.
Maria.
I think this game was truly a display of why this is called the beautiful game. I think the display of sportsmanship, that level was very high. You see how people go down, you saw opposing teams helping each other up, making sure that the players were okay, and I always love to see that in sport. I don't think it's about, you know, kill your opponent. They can't come back to play you again if that happens. And I think that all the goals were excellent goals. I don't think no one can contest that Brazil didn't deserve to win this game. I would have liked to see Serbia win. Yes, it didn't happen, but I'm not disappointed. And fortunately, I'm here at Smokey and Bunty, where I'm going to enjoy myself either way.
In the round of 16, we have one CONCACAF team, Mexico. From where you sit, do you see Mexico standing any chance of moving forward?
Definitely. I mean, we saw that when they played their opening match. I mean, the movement, the way they were resilient. I mean, the speed and the pace that Mexico have will cause them the problems. And as I say, when they came out and beat Germany, the world champions, we have to remember that they were the world champions. They made the world stand up and look, you know. And people will be scared of Mexico. As I say, the movement, the passion they have as well. They have the support too. So we could see a CONCACAF team go as far as the semis or even the final as well.
Now, looking at the teams that have gone through so far, Uruguay, Spain, Poland, Portugal, with Brazil now. Are there any surprises that teams that you felt that might not have made it have surprised you so far?
Well, the shirt that I'm wearing, obviously Croatia, at the start of the tournament I would never have thought in a million years they would have enough to show the passing ability, the goals that they scored, but they've surprised everybody, and obviously people are now talking about the fact that they could also make the final. So I mean, big surprise there. Mexico's another one. I mean, generally in the past they've been there or thereabouts, but with the players that they missed out on over the years, for example, they brought back Marquez, 39 years old, but he's still there. So, and then they combine that with the youth. So I'm surprised with them too, but Croatia's probably the main team that surprised me. But there's teams that went out as well, Iceland, even Nigeria, that put a good account for themselves. So there's been a lot actually in this World Cup.
Iran was a team that really surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, Iran, I mean, the only thing people would say is the play acting and the sideshow, but I thought Iran, they actually said at the start of the tournament it was the best looking team from a female point of view. So I'm sure a lot of the females will be disappointed they're going home, but they knocked the ball about well. Even the goalkeeper for Iran, which is a real story, that he was homeless.
Yes, and he's 45.
Yeah, he was homeless 2 years or 3 years ago, I think. So a real fairy tale story, and again, that's what football's all about. That is what people love, and that's why it's called the beautiful game, as Maria said. Yeah.
Yes, I think definitely we're seeing amazing football being played. I think the upsets are just adding to it, because you see that just because you're picked for number one or you're supported by your fan base, which is hugely important, but you can see that you have to maintain it, you have to earn it. You don't have paying your dues 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago isn't enough. You have to continue to pay your dues to stay on top.
So true. Consistency is such a key. As I say, Germany, the world champions, obviously, and they brought nothing really to the tournament. Let's be honest. I mean, the opening game they lost. They lost this game to a South Korea side. We've got to give both sides, Mexico and Korea, a lot of credit, but people were expecting better. And as Maria said, consistency. You're only as good as your last game.
Well, I've truly enjoyed myself. I think it was such an intense game, especially that time when Serbia was just at that net and they were fighting and fighting and fighting, and you saw Brazil with their defense was amazing. I think the intensity was very high. everyone watching, all the spectators, they definitely got a workout too, just being so excited for the action that was happening. And that's how you continue your sport. You know, you involve the entire world. It's a global sport. This is a global event, and everyone is involved. And that's a beautiful thing when your sport can do that and make change in the world like in that way.
Yeah, even at the bar here, we've seen a lot of people jumping up. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what this tournament's all about. It's about getting the fans involved, getting the players involved, and people enjoying themselves. So, I mean, it doesn't, let's be honest, it doesn't matter who really wins at the end of the day. As long as the fans win, the support wins, you know, and people enjoy what they're seeing, at the end of the day, that's it. That's the most important thing.
That's what I say. A lot of people here, they say, I'm supporting Neymar, I'm supporting Messi, I'm supporting this one, right? But as far as they are concerned, they just look at one player. But I support Brazil. I'm a diehard Brazilian supporter. But at the end of the day, when I look at football, I want to see a good game of football. It could be anybody who wins or anybody could lose. But I just want to see a good game of football. And when I look at the support that they're getting in this World Cup, I can clearly see why Trinidad is struggling for football. Because we go to look at football. We don't want to support football. I look at games where people are actually crying. That's to show you the passion in the game. Right? And until Trinidadans can get that way, we'll only go to watch football. We will not go to support football.
Yeah, it's a sad reality about the game. I mean, in a sense, I mean, things obviously have dropped in Trinidad. Trinidad has phenomenal talent, phenomenal players, but that, like you say, I mean, the passion and the support has to be the same on and off the field, whether you're a player or a supporter. Obviously, let's hope that by the next 4 years, Trinidad are able to come back and do something, or obviously 8 years for the World Cup that's going to be in Mexico, America and Canada. But a lot of work to do, but at the end of the day, football was the real winner, I mean, today, and let's hope that it does so for the rest of the tournament.
Any closing comments?
No, it was a great game. I enjoyed it. Everything we seen in the game, saves, great tackles, 2 good goals, and at the end of the day, a great game.
Mario?
Definitely, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us here. Wherever you're watching the World Cup, you always know it's playing in Smokey and Bunty, so come on out. I'll tell you, the experience is that much better when you're in Smokey and Bunty.
Yes, remember, they are on the avenue. So as we leave you, again, we want to thank, first of all, Kathleen Stevens for giving us that insight on her career in the sport of rugby. And we want to thank James and the management of staff here at Smokies and Bunters. They always give us the opportunity to come here, and we do have a wonderful time. So again, James.
Remember that final party that we're going to have at the end of the, obviously, the end of the World Cup on the 15th, I think, of July. Yes. Here at Smokey and Bunties, we'll be having that. The game will be 11, but it will be a party for the whole day and whole night, hopefully. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Remember, catch us right here, Smokies and Bunties on the 15th for the finals. Have a blessed day. See you.